Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, you wherever you are on this wonderful planet of ours. Welcome to the very last review of the Proverbs that I've been running all of this month from the 1st of May until today. Now, I have already done the video for the 31st chapter, which really for me, I suppose if I'll just get my Bible off here, here we go. Sayings of King Lemuel, the sayings of King Lemuel, and all of the other things. And the one thing which I absolutely love in this is the description of the wife of noble character. However, I am going to go over some of these things. I've done a presentation. Now, this should really have been integrated with the original video, but for some reason, we had a bit of an issue with the video, so I ran that separately, and I'm just going to do the presentation separately as well. So I'm just going to pop that up on the screen now, and hopefully once I've done all this clever stuff on here we are. Now we're just going to do the whole of week 4. I didn't do it at the end of week 4 because I thought, well, we've only got 3 more days, so we'll make it a 10-day review. So without further ado then, let's go and have a look. And what I would really encourage you to do is to let me know what your favourite passages are in Proverbs, if you have any. It would be interesting to find out if this is the first time you've actually heard Proverbs or read it. I know there are a lot of people who quote Proverbs, so you may have heard it from them. But in terms of the actual readings from the Bible, now I've been doing it from the New International Version, which is what this is. It's a nice study Bible, and it's actually really nice. I don't know if the camera will pick that up. In fact, I'll try and do it this way. 2 ticks. I get myself up here. There we go. Yeah, I will try and get some nice colourful parts here. Yeah, there's a nice one. As you can see from that, I don't know if you can actually, but there you go. Yeah, all nicely coloured and everything. It's just because I've got this thing in the background here. I think I might change that because that was the view that we had from the Shard in London last year when Alice and I went for our silver wedding anniversary. I'm just going to change it to one of the other views as well, and that is this one. So now we didn't actually have exactly this suite. This is the one which is just above the one that we were in. We were in the highest of without actually getting into a suite. That had extra rooms built in. We were on a single floor with different partition, different sections, but these were specific suites. So that's a photograph of that. I think it's quite nice. It's nice to have that as a background. However, let's get back to doing the show. So here we go. Let me get over here so we can change these slides properly. Yeah, so these are the verses that stood out to me in each of the days. So on the 22nd, obviously, it was chapter 22. The generous will themselves be blessed, for they share the food with poor. Now that's bacon and eggs and cheese and stuff like that that you can see in the graphic. As you can see, I quite like icons myself. However, I am very aware of my own, not so much wealth because I'm not wealthy, but compared to the poor of this world, I think we all have to admit, those in the Western world, we are very wealthy. And I would love to have more to give away. I really would. That would be everything I would hope for and wish for. So the next bit was they started the 30 sayings in that chapter. And this saying too, do not exploit poor because they are poor, and do not crush the needy in court, for the Lord will take up their case and will exact life for life. Now, that's pretty strong words there, I would have to say. But I very much hope that people don't exploit the poor. Some people would argue that some political parties tend to do that more than others. Some governments tend to do that. Some countries tend to do that. Dictators in particular. I could think of a few. I'm not going to name them, but yeah, these are disappointing things, particularly just now while we're going through this pandemic. So let's go on to 23. So again, we're sticking to the sayings because most of those sayings were over a couple of days or 3 days, I think, in total. So the one that caught my eye, or these verses that caught my eye together in on the 23rd chapter 23. Do not wear yourself out to get rich. Do not trust your own cleverness. Cast but glance at riches, and they are gone, for they will surely sprout wings and fly off to the sky like an eagle. Well, when you pop your cloaks, as they say, you can't take it with you, and you leave it all behind. For me, I'd rather spend it on people that need it more than me. And that's the absolute truth. Now, down underneath that, I've said in 19 the effects of alcohol. And I would have to say that the whole of that section is really amazing in terms of describing exactly what it's like when you've had a drink. And for those people who want more is what the chapter ends with. When can I have another drink? Now, when I was younger, I did have a bit of a problem with drink for various reasons. Not an alcoholic, I wasn't an alcoholic, excuse me, but I have been drunk, so I know the feelings that you get. And those words are so descriptive. I mean, you think this is years ago when this was written, Proverbs, when King Solomon. And those descriptions are so true for today. It's just incredible. And I suppose if you do drink and have been drunk, you will know what they are and agree with them. Chapter 24, saying 26. Here we go. Another two verses together that stood out for me. Eat honey, my son, for it is good. Honey from the comb, sweet to your taste. Now, it is absolutely delicious, but we are talking about bees that make honey. And a lot of pesticides that have been going about just now have been killing our bees off. So that's really the kind of message that struck home to me was, yeah, bees make honey for us to enjoy, but if there's no bees, there's no honey, and there's lots of other complications because of that. Know also that wisdom is like honey for you. If you find it, there is future hope for you, and your hope will not be cut off. That is how sweet wisdom is to the soul. And as I've said earlier when I've been doing these reviews, it is when you replace wisdom with Christ or Jesus or God that you realize the power of Proverbs. When you can take the word wisdom and replace it with those, or the Holy Spirit or the Spirit. So, know also that Jesus or God or the Holy Spirit or the Lord is like honey for you if you find him, there is future hope for you, and your hope will not be cut off. I'll leave you with that thought. Chapter 25. Again, another couple of verses together. It's funny how that happens. If your enemy is hungry, give him food to eat. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head. The Lord will reward you. Isn't that the total opposite of what you would like to do to your enemy? I don't know if I've got any enemies. I may have people that dislike me. I don't know so much about enemies, but there are people who don't like you and don't want to spend time with you and whatever. But you just have to be good to everybody.
That's what I believe anyway. And that's what Christ teaches us. Treat others as you would be treated yourself. You know.
Chapter 26. Another two verses together, 11 and 12. As a dog returns to its vomit, so fools repeat their folly. Do you see a person wise in their own eyes? There's more hope for a fool than for them. And then down in 28, a lying tongue hates those it hurts, and a flattering mouth works ruin. Now, the power of the tongue is often mentioned in Proverbs. In fact, it's mentioned, Jesus mentions it, Paul mentions it. It is so powerful what it does. But I want to go back to these first two verses. A dog returns to its vomit, so fools repeat their folly. And that's absolutely true, because sometimes in my past I've done things and not learned my lesson from them and gone and done the same thing again. So I have repeated a folly, as it were. And when I was a teenager, I always thought my dad I talked a lot of rubbish, and I used to tell him, that's rubbish, because I thought I was wiser than he was. Well, obviously I wasn't, but that was just my teenage years being kicking off and stuff like that. Chapter 27, getting to the end of the month now. Again, another two verses. Perfume and incense bring joy to the heart, and the pleasantness of friend springs from their heartfelt advice. Have you got a confidant? Have you got somebody, a close friend that talks to you, makes you feel good? I do believe that relationship really important, because the next verse talks about do not forsake your friend or a friend of your family, and do not go to your relative's house when disaster strikes you. Better a neighbor nearby than a relative far away. Now, I was talking about friends earlier on, and it's all about relationships, because it's relationships that matter. And sometimes your relationships with friends are closer than some of the relationships you might have with family. Now, that shouldn't be the case. You should have great relationships with both your family and your friends and your neighbours, etc. That's the ideal situation. It doesn't always happen like that. And my view in life now is that I want to spend people who love me and I love back, who want to spend time with me and I want to spend time with them. And, if I do need to speak to somebody because there's an issue, then I will go to those people who I am closest to, those people who I trust, those people who trust me, and we share that bond between us. That can also be family, but family, friends, it's all relative to your situation. 28th. So this was the end of the fourth week. And again, we have got success verses, this time three. Those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies will have their fill of poverty. A faithful person will be richly blessed, but one eager to get rich will not go unpunished. To show partiality is not good, yet a person will do wrong for a piece of bread. Now that's going back to the poor situation. People who are in need might do things that you wouldn't want them to do, but they're doing it because they're hungry, because they're doing it because they've got a need, and they have to do something to fulfill that need. Basic needs. I don't know if you know Maslow's hierarchy. The very base of the pyramid is that, survival, that basic need that we all have to survive. And I would like to think that, faithfulness is something that we all want, whether it's in your job or whether it's in your relationships with your partner, with friends, etc. That's something that we should be striving for. And I do believe that those who work hard do get the rewards for their efforts. So here we are now into, there's always 28 days in every month. So we're getting into the last of, the ones that are in every month. If it's a leap year, for February at least. Anyway, so now we have another three together. Fear of men will prove to be a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe. Many seek an audience with a ruler, but it's from the Lord that one gets justice. And the righteous detest the dishonest, the wicked detest the upright. Neither likes the other in the latter verse there, because they don't understand the other half, you know. And I don't know about whether it's a detesting, it's just a lack of comprehension. I wouldn't do that if it was me, but you're not in the other person's shoes. And sometimes we can look at things and criticize people, and we haven't been in their shoes. So, you know, you don't have to do things, you don't have to know something isn't right and have to do it so that it proves that it's not. Somebody said, well, what's it like to jump off the bridge and kill yourself? Well, you wouldn't want to do that, would you? Uh, but people do because of their situation. Um, we're not them. And fear of man proved to be a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe. Now that is absolutely crucial in how I've been brought up and how I've lived my life, because I was told you don't need to fear anybody. You don't need to, worry about anybody or anything like that, because they're just human beings. Somebody told me an excellent way to put yourself in a very good position when you meet somebody who is powerful or who you revere and whatever. They said all you need to do is to think about them having a bath in the middle of their living room, one of these tin baths that you used to get, searching for the soap in the bath. And once you start to think about that, imagining somebody that you're just about to speak to or whatever in that situation, you then bring them down to a level that's just as human as you, just as vulnerable as you, and that makes it easy then for you to go and have those conversations and feel quite natural in their presence. Now, you might find that, their intelligence worries you or whatever, because you're not at the same level, or there may be other reasons, etc. But that shouldn't prevent you from having a good conversation with someone and feeling that you're on the same level. Okay, a lot of months for six. Is it 6 months? Or no, 5 months. Days are September, April, June, and November. 30 September, April, June, and November. Oh, there's 31. So yeah, so 4 or 5 months. Um, we've got 30. So here we are, another 3 verses. Two I ask of you, Lord, do not refuse me before I die. Keep falsehood and lies far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me only my daily bread. Otherwise, I may have too much and disown you and say, who is the Lord? Or I may become poor and steal and so dishonor the name of my God. How important is that for all of us to understand what is right in terms of how we are? You crave, and some people do crave riches. They just want to be wealthy. Uh, but as I've got older and my income has got less, I've learned that there are only really important things. There are really important things. Yes, as long as you survive. But I would give my last if somebody needed it more than me. And that's the truth. So for today, that was my favourite. I haven't done 31. Oh my word, what have I done? I missed out chapter 31, it looks like. Yeah, I've only done up to chapter 30. Well, chapter 31, the majority of that chapter, and I think I read it before, was about the about. So let me see, where's my Proverbs bit? There we go. Yeah, Proverbs 31. It was about the woman. So I've lost a clip. Oh, here we are. Yes, Proverbs. Don't know if you could see that. Can you see that? Proverbs. Yeah, so most of it, and from verse 10 onwards, is about the description of a wife of noble character. And I have to say, when I go through all of those verses myself, let me get myself on here because I think that's probably wiser. Yeah, when I talk about when I read those passages, I see my wife in everything that is mentioned in those verses. It's 21 or 22 verses in total. And they're all amazingly true and very, just my wife. And I have often said, this is my favorite chapter in Proverbs. However, my favorite verse, let me get back to here. I think I did it a bit quick because I thought I'd done 31. What an idiot. So let me go over here and click on that. That's my favorite. Now, this is how I like to have it read. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not on thine own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. That's my absolute favourite passage in Proverbs. That's the one that I learned Sunday school. It was the one that has kept me going throughout my life as an adult, as a Christian. Now, I've had roller coaster experiences, I've been a yo yo Christian or whatever, but deep down, I do trust in the Lord. Maybe not with all my heart, and I wish I did. Uh, I attempt to, and that's my goal, is to trust Him with all my heart. and all my ways acknowledge him, so that he'll direct me where he wants me or what he wants me to do. So there you are. We've come to the end of Proverbs, and I'm just going to stick on myself back on here and say, well, thank you very much for joining me for this series. Uh, what I would encourage you from tomorrow is that you start with Proverbs chapter 1 and read that whole chapter for that day. Because let's go back to, oh, that's my phone. Uh, I'll have to answer that. Hi, Auntie Evelyn. All right. Yeah. All right. That's right.